check out these black and red Air Jordan 11 Low player exclusive shoes that used to be Michael Jordan's. These are definitely one of my favorite pairs in the ShoeZeum, and I can't wait to tell you how I got this pair of shoes. So this pair of Air Jordan 11 Lows has never before been released to the public in black and red. There's actually a pair coming out in May that's very similar to this pair. The main difference is that the liner going around the ankle and the heel right here on Michael Jordan's pair is black, whereas the liner coming out for the public is red. Now, there was actually a player exclusive 11 Low that recently surfaced and was sold on eBay. It also has the red liner, just like the pair that's coming out in May. That pair originally came out in 2003, whereas this pair is an OG pair from 1996. So back in 95-96, the Bulls went 72-10. It was the greatest NBA season in the history of the NBA, still standing to this day, 20 years later. And Michael Jordan wore the black and red Air Jordan 11s during the playoff run and during every single game against the Seattle Supersonics in the finals. But they never made that pair in low tops like the one that you see in front of you. Now, there are actually two different versions of Air Jordan 11 Lows. And back in 96, the pair that came out to the public was called the Air Jordan 11 Low IE. Who knows what IE stands for? The shoes look completely different than this patent leather pair that you see in front of you. The IE pairs have elephant print on there. They're made of breathable mesh and tumbled leather. It was almost like a throwback to the Air Jordan 3 with the addition of mesh. At least that's how I felt in 96 when they released. And then there's also the patent leather edition of the Lows, like the one that you see in front of you. And over the years, Nike's retroed both of those different editions, but for some reason, they've never done a black and red pair of low tops, which is crazy. Pretty recently, actually last summer, they did the Concord 11 Lows, which was the shoe that Michael wore in the championship parade. So that's cool that they made that low top, and it's really cool that they're making the black and red 11 low top this summer. It's sure to be a hit. I'm really happy that it's got a red liner on there. It sort of preserves the integrity and the originality of this pair of shoes that was owned by Michael Jordan. So how did I get this amazing pair of shoes? Originally, I unveiled the ShoeZeum in San Diego. And after I opened up the collection, Mark Parker and the Nike executives flew down on their private jet to visit me. And shortly after that, the San Diego Union Tribune ran a front page story on the ShoeZeum. Judd Bushler, who was from San Diego and his family still lives out there, his dad reached out to me because of seeing that newspaper story. And he said, I have a pair of Michael Jordan's shoes that Michael gave to my son. They've been sitting in our garage for 10 or 15 years, and I would love to give them to you for your shoe museum. And I would also love a tour. And I was like, oh my gosh, you have Michael Jordan's shoes? Yeah, come by, I'll give you a tour. So the next morning he came by. I had no idea what the shoes were that he had. And as he walked in the door and presented these to me, I was completely speechless. I mean, blown away. This is an absolute unicorn of a shoe right here. I've only ever seen a picture of this shoe one time in a Japanese sneaker book like 15 years ago, but I've never seen this shoe in person. And Judd's dad hands them over to me, and I was completely taken back and speechless. The Air Jordan 11 in black and red was my very first pair of Air Jordans. It's my favorite pair of Air Jordans. I actually wore them in my wedding. My wife wore a pair. Tinker Hatfield, who designed the Air Jordan 11, customized two pairs for my wife and I. He basically told our personal story in silver pen all over Air Jordan 11. So Judd's dad had no idea how much this shoe meant to me, and he handed them to me, and I was just so touched and blown away and amazed, and I still am to this day. It's one of my all-time favorite pairs of shoes, and I want to show it to you. Let's have a look. Let's maybe put this one back here and have a look at the left shoe right here. Look at that gorgeous pair of shoes. Wow. So I want to actually get in here and show you the tags so you can see Michael Jordan's size. Over the years, MJ has worn size 13 and size 13 and a half. This pair of shoes is actually a size 13 and a half. And actually the US and UK part on the tag is a little bit worn down, so we have to figure out the sizing by doing a size conversion with the European size and the centimeters. So let's get in here and have a look. Here's the tag right here. Let's move that tongue out of the way. And I really want to make sure that you can see that there. So you can see that the US and the UK are blacked out. But if you look really closely on there, you can see that the Euro size is 48 and that they're 31.5 centimeters, which is the conversion for a size 13.5 shoe. You can also tell by this tag that these are an OG pair from 1996. If they were a retro, somewhere on here they would have a date of production. But on this, it just says made in Taiwan, there's the sizing, and then a whole bunch of patents. And of course, you better believe that I'm going to go Google all of those patents. But there's the tag for MJ's shoe. So when Judd's dad came by the ShoeZeum and shared these with me, I told him how much I had in common with his son. So, of course, the ShoeZeum was in San Diego, and Judd Bushler was from San Diego. I went to college at the University of Arizona, which is the same place that Judd went to school. Judd played basketball and volleyball at the U of A, and his nickname was the Judge. And actually, nowadays, Judd is a coach for his daughter and her volleyball team. And get this, years ago, I was flying out to Las Vegas, and I'm talking like 7 or 8 years ago, way before the ShoeZeum. And I'm on the plane, and I noticed Judd Bushler. And I walked right up to him, and I recognized him, and I introduced myself, and I told him that I was such a fan. You know, Judd won 3 rings with the Bulls in their second three-peat, and I remember him hitting so many clutch shots back in the day and rooting for him, not just because he was on the Bulls, but because he went to U of A, and I'm just a fan. So I walked up to him, and I introduced myself, and he actually gave me his autograph on a magazine, and we parted ways. And then years later, his dad reached out to me, and his dad came by, and I was like, man, I would love to meet your son. I still would love to get to meet Judd again, talk to him about his career, talk to him about Michael Jordan, talk to him about these shoes. I mean, look at this gorgeous, gorgeous pair of kicks. We might as well break out the one that we've unlaced so that we can really look at it. Look on the tongue there. It says Jumpman Jordan. You know, all the Air Jordan 11s say that, actually with the exception of the first Space Jam, and that just says Jam on it, Jordan Jam. Look right there. Boom. Gorgeous shoe. It says 23 here on the heel. Actually, it's kind of brittle in here. Feels almost like a sandbag, like the inside liner is sort of decomposing. There's a little red Jumpman logo on the back here. Remember, on the original Jordan 11 highs, there's a Jumpman logo over here. On the pair that's coming out this summer, there's also a red Jumpman logo. But the shoes look very different because of the liner being black versus the liner being red. Let's look at the outsole right here. It's identical to the pair that's coming out to the public. You can see that carbon fiber on there. Remember, the Air Jordan 11 was the first pair of Air Jordans to feature carbon fiber. So there it is in all black. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much to Judd's dad. I hope one day that I get the opportunity to meet Judd again and talk to him about his career and talk to him all about these shoes. Like, I'm dying to know, when did Michael give him these shoes? Did MJ wear them in a game? Was it at a practice? Like, I want to know the backstory so much. Anyway, it's been such a pleasure walking you through these Air Jordan 11 low player exclusives, a real unicorn and something I'm so thankful to have in my collection.